Conscious Fever podcast, hosted by Carl Price and Paul Mullins. Coming to you live from
You are
Louisville,
listening to
Kentucky.
Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. So listen responsibly.
It's the best of the best. It's the one and only DJ Ice, Louisville's coldest DJ.
Tap. Thank you, and welcome tonight. Good evening. I'm Carl Price. This is Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. When things blink on my left side, I always have to look. Good evening. Welcome to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. If you're listening to us on the Conscious Fever Radio side, welcome. We're here tonight. I'm here tonight, of course, with Paul Mullins. He's going to join me here on the other side of this little quick break. But I think before I go to the other side of the break, I'm going to just welcome everybody that I've seen make some comments. How about that? We can do that real quick here. Get to the very, we got to get to the very top of it. How about that? Good evening, gentle people. Good evening, Stephanie. How are you? Here's somebody familiar. Have your comment. Did you meant to say comment, Paul? Have your comment. You're worse than the other people on there. Stephanie speaking to other. Yet my mind appears on Facebook. Go figure. Why are you posting like that? Why are you doing that? That's for you. Hello, Madeline. Welcome to the show tonight. Stephanie Wildcard, you're looking real fine tonight. Well, I appreciate it. And damn, she says. Well, what do y'all think about what Stephanie says? She thinks I'm looking fine. I don't know what all that is. Okay, well, I guess they like it too. Hey, good evening. Welcome to Conscious Fever. This is Conscious Fever, as we always do. We try to come on Thursday night. We know there's a University of Louisville basketball game going on. But of course, tonight, we're going to be talking about some things. I'm going to share this banner with you all one more time, and then I'm going to come back to me.
Good thing.
Anyway, you see that, and basically what that is, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the Louisville plane crash, and we're also going to talk about the Blue Wave. If y'all are inclined to talk about the Blue Wave, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But first and foremost, how are you all doing out there? The ones that have joined us here in the studio tonight, they're doing okay. I'm going to bring Paul on because I know y'all like to clap for Paul as well. But listen, before we talk about the Blue Wave and the plane crash, I do want to give some kudos, and then we'll come back to the comments. Remember, you're on Conscious Fever. This is Conscious Fever Live. We're not like TikTok Live. We're not like Instagram Live. We're not like any other Facebook Live, because what we do here, if you talk to us, we talk back, and we let you see all of your comments right here on the big board, so all these people in here can see it as well. But before I go on a break and we get to talking about what we need to talk about, I do want to give kudos to where I'm going to spend my weekend. I'm going to be in Cleveland, Ohio this weekend. So if you got tickets to my show, you can come by. And if you got tickets, the show's sold out. No, I'm just joking. But I'm going to the inauguration of the 24th International Grand Polaris of Iota Phi Theta. I have a speaking engagement there at the Black Tire Fair on Saturday night where Case is performing. You remember Case, Paul? Well, we're going to ask Paul about Case when he comes out. But anyway, I'm going to say congratulations to Orlando Grant and all the team, the Grand Treasurer and the Grand Vice Presidents, Eric McCoy and Anthony Harden, who was reelected our international treasurer. So I'm going to be in Cleveland, Ohio tonight. If you're in Cleveland, Ohio, come down to the Cleveland Hilton, join us. But in any case, I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, we're going to talk about the plane crash, and we're going to talk about the Blue Wave. Just get some comment, maybe get some comments, ask some questions, and see what y'all feel. I'm Conscious Fever, Carl Price, Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. We'll be right back.
get them all off me. Say down for L, she a cause, you see. 4 cars deep, we'll come through on a late night. Chicken spot, wings and fries, we call that a day night. Lights on, sold out, I don't have no stage fright. Knew that I was built for this forever, ever, ever.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
We ride Benz, 10 times 10, all my friends, this for real.
And we are back with more Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price, Esquire.
Hey, good evening. Welcome back to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. Again, everybody who is joining us on Facebook, we still seem to, what is that, Lewis? You know who, Miss Bernie? Oh, Miss Bernie. Hey, Miss Bernie. And then Paul keeps sending these tests on these contests. Anyway, let me welcome Paul. I don't know why he's playing with these. Why are you playing with this stuff,
color,
man?
bro. Look at that. I'm not that. There we go. I don't know the lighting.
It's just the lighting, man. You light up. Paul is the brightest thing in downtown Louisville. So occasionally when he comes on, he just lights up. We can't control that in this studio. If you've got an internal genetic problem of lighting up like a light bulb at Christmas time, we can't control that.
Make sure the producer fix my light. I look blue, y'all.
You don't. Well, man,
I look a little blue.
Anyway, I look orange. I've been in a tanning bed. You know I don't tan. I just let the sun give me my natural vitamin C. But anyway, Paul, we're going to talk about we have a somber discussion tonight, and we have an interesting discussion because we want to know what the effect of all of this is. And I want you to weigh in on this stuff because I know you have opinions and we all have opinions. But before I do all of that, I see a lot of comments. You see those comments, Paul?
They're coming in.
A lot of people are coming in. All right, here we go. That's right, the plane crash. Yeah,
Madeline, how you doing, Madeline? You ain't forgot about the plane crash already.
It happened right here in Louisville, and we are afraid to say that, ashamed to say that. But, it could have happened anywhere. Hold on, guys. Let me call real quick. Okay, I don't know who you're calling, but anyway, good evening. Good evening, Renee.
What do we have here?
She says, what'd you say, what you have here?
That's what she says. What do we have here?
Well. Who do we have here?
I can't even see that far, y'all.
Hey, Miss Bernie. What is that, Paul? Louisville. Okay, Miss Bernie, you're going to have to help us out with that.
No, I mean, she's like me. There's certain letters on my phone that no matter how much I type, I miss the letter.
Well, y'all need to get real phones. I think Paul just wants to see himself in the comments.
No. Okay, so this is what's going on. We've had this problem getting. Hold on for a second. Let me explain this. Thank you for your comment. We've had a problem getting comments to show up on Facebook. So I was testing it. It seems like the only Facebook comments that show up is if you actually go to the Conscious Fever page and they show up. Some of the other Facebook comments we've been seeing haven't been coming from the actual Conscious Fever page. So if you comment from the live feed on the page, it looks like they're coming through, at least on my phone.
At least, I think Paul wants to talk about technicalities here, and we can do that. But anyway, you took us off the comment page, and we need to go back to the comment page.
I think I did.
It says long time. Somebody saying, good evening, Carl. Good evening. It's like Renee.
She loves the tie.
Yeah, she loves the tie, and she's...
Thank you.
Oh, wow, I love this tie.
Yeah, it's purple, though.
I think that's the ugliest tie I've
It is
ever
not
seen.
the ugliest tie.
He
It's
wears
just
it
purple.
well. Louisville final score 106-70. Yeah,
we
Louisville's
were watching
doing
it,
something.
yeah.
Guess what, Bernie? Guess what we've realized? That Kenny Payne is no longer our coach.
Do y'all
Not with that score.
Do y'all remember when
Paul
I
is
called?
looking quite fine. Let me get through the comments, and you can ask him whatever you want to ask him. Wait, Paul, why do you look so young? I'm loving that look. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, that's a big laugh. Thank you, Madeline. You made that laugh. Well, Paul, why don't you just answer the question?
Which
why do you
question?
Look so young?
Stay out of the sun, y'all. Stay out of the sun.
No, don't stay out of the sun. The sun, the melanin helps us all. Don't tell people to do it. Anyway, Don't
Do you
tell
want me to
people
answer
do
the
that.
question? I just
answer
think
the question.
that you put chemicals in your body and you stand in the sun. I think it it'll make you wrinkle up. Right? Basically, don't you agree with that?
I mean, I agree with that. Okay, Paul, don't start. I don't want to get started arguing with you tonight. I'm so soon in the show.
It's going to end up there. Y'all know
No,
it is.
because when you say that, melanated people don't wrinkle up from the sun.
They wrinkle up eventually if you stay in the sun too long.
No, they don't, Paul. That's not for melanated people, man.
Well, define melanated. Am I melanated or am I high yellow?
You've gone to HBCU, you would have learned
Okay.
about all of that. I can't teach you stuff that you should have learned 40 years ago, man, or 30 years ago.
So look at Stephanie's comment.
You want to see Stephanie's
Yes.
comment.
Right there.
Right here?
Yes. Just like Delta, baby. Just like Delta.
What?
It's an inside joke, I guess.
Just like Delta?
Yeah, she loves to fly and it shows.
She loves the what?
Why do I gotta explain jokes, man? Delta. What? Everybody tell us what the Delta motto is, or it used to be. Who was the?
Just I don't look like
All
an
right, just
AC.
forget it.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you. Okay, listen, there's some things I want to talk about, Paul. Can I talk about them, and then you and I can come back and talk about them?
Yes.
There are some things that I really want to just talk about tonight, if that's okay with you.
We should first of all give our condolences to anyone affected by the tragedy.
Can I say what I'm going to say, and then you can join in on that if you want?
All right.
Okay. Anyway, tonight, this is what I want to do, y'all. I just want us to pause. I want us to breathe. And I want us to bow our heads, if only in our hearts, to reflect on what has happened here in our Louisville. Louisville, our city, on Tuesday witnessed a tragedy. A UPS aircraft went down, as most of you all know now. I don't know about you all that are not in Louisville, but a plane went down. And Paul and I were talking about the death toll. At first the media was just reporting there was only 3 people, and those were the only 3 people that were on the plane. But in reality, I kept saying to you that death toll is going to rise, and I believe that it's probably going to go over 20 or 30, just because of what I saw. But in any case, tonight, before we get into any more analysis, before we ask any more questions, before we even think about what caused this or what went wrong, I want to first center this conversation in gratitude for life and in prayer for the souls connected to this tragedy. There are people right now who are confirmed dead. There are individuals who have been injured, and there are souls, precious souls, who are still unaccounted for. These are not just statistics. These are somebody's fathers, somebody's mothers, somebody's sons, somebody's daughters, somebody's loved ones who left home that morning with no thought that today or that day could be their last day on this earth.
Well,
they had dreams. They had plans for tomorrow. They had grocery lists. They had bills to pay. They had love to give. Mm-hmm. And so I want us to, just as a community here in Louisville, to soften ourselves tonight. Let us hold in our hearts the families who are now stepping into a darkness they never asked for. Let us send love and sympathy to those who have already received the call that no human being should ever receive.
Yeah.
Let us send hope to those families who are still waiting for news. Let us pray for healing for those who are fighting for their lives right now in Louisville's hospitals. And let us embrace the truth that life is fragile. And because life is fragile, we must not take it for granted. Tonight, we send prayers, if we can, for the souls whose journey on this earth has ended. We send strength to the first responders, the investigators, the emergency personnel, and the UPS families, those who must now do the hard work of making sense out of senselessness. Mm-hmm. Tonight, we lift up Louisville here at Conscious Fever. We lift up every hand that is shaken tonight. We lift up every heart that is breaking tonight. And we lift up ourselves and remind ourselves that love is the only force that can hold a community together when tragedy pulls it apart. So to all of y'all listening, join me in this moment of silent reflection. May peace find those who are mourning. May comfort find those who are hurting. May clarity find those who are searching. And may God grant rest to every soul that has been lost. This is Conscious Fever. Tonight we stand together as one city, one Louisville, and one family in prayer, in sympathy, and in compassion. So, Paul, some of what I'm going to ask is, when you, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you this question. When you first heard, or for those out there listening, when you first heard about this UPS plane going down here in Louisville, how did it impact you?
I didn't know what it was at first. Honestly, when I got the first time I had heard that, I didn't hear it was a plane crash. The first thing I got was a buzz on my phone.
I mean, did it impact you emotionally at all? Or what was your first thought? I know you were traveling
My first
home.
thought was, I didn't know it was a plane crash, so I can't really give you my first thought.
But you saw the smoke.
I didn't know it was smoke. What I saw, I thought was a cloud, and I didn't even pay it any attention. I thought a storm was coming. I was driving home. I get off on 3rd Street, and I was glanced to I guess in this direction would be south, and the clouds were dark, and I didn't think anything of it. And it wasn't until later that night that I realized what it was. But I honestly, to sit here and say I dwelled on a dark cloud, I can't even say I did that. I know I saw it, and I thought it looks like it might rain. I didn't put any thought behind it. I didn't see smoke. I didn't know at 5:15 that there had been a crash. I was home at about, I think the alarm came in at about 5:45, and I was texting somebody else on the phone, and I was like, uh-oh, what is this? Is there a bomb threat at the airport? We didn't know. And then I called my mother, and of course, if y'all know my mother, she probably knew the news 2 minutes before anybody else, and including reporters. But she knew everything that happened, and she told me. And so when I heard that news that a plane had crashed on the runway, I didn't know that the plane had even left the airfield. And so I was thinking, my immediate thoughts were, if there's only 3 people, because that's what she said, I said it must have been a plane with nobody on it. And I felt sad for, the pilots, and I immediately thought, man, can you imagine, waking up one morning and seeing your loved one go off? I said husband, actually, and talking to my mom. I said, seeing your husband go off to work and just not coming back that night, and he was a pilot. So that was the furthest extent that it affected me until about 6:15 when I started turning on the news.
Well, why is it important, Paul? Because I know we talk about politics a lot, and I think there's been some discussion that, maybe it's what's going on in Washington. But why is it important in moments like this that we just pause from politics and blame, and instead just sit in prayer, compassion, and support for every life touched by this tragedy? Why is that so important? I'm just trying to figure
because there should be certain events in a country's history or future, or that politics go beyond. Like 9/11. I didn't vote for George Bush, but I didn't. But when 9/11, when the planes hit the towers,
that's not what I'm laughing at.
I didn't make any jokes. No, I didn't read nothing. Don't go off topic. Starting to grow locks. I like them too. See? So there you go. Not on purpose though, Stephanie, just to be fair. Not on purpose. It's just covering up all my mistakes. Let's just say that. So, but yeah, certain things just, you don't need to make everything political. And this was a tragedy.
Yeah. It really was.
So
worried about my KSU brothers in the Ville. No, we're okay. We're okay, Greg. Greg, why don't you go to YouTube? I'm not on the screen.
Or you can try going
Greg, why don't you go to YouTube
or the Conscious Fever homepage,
or the Conscious Fever Facebook page? So when you comment, we can see your comments here. But no, everybody here in Louisville, as far as I know, is okay. Here's the challenging part, Greg. Here's the challenging part. The challenging part is that we really don't know, because if you see how, I don't know if we have that screen to put up, but if you see how destructive it was, like that's a long line of fire that was burning. And when the plane hit, it just came out of nowhere, right? So there that is a business industrial section there around the airport. We talked to a guy today, Paul, right? We talked to a guy today who's having lunch with us that he was there. He was about to go to Stooges, which is there are auto part shops in that area. So he was leaving the auto part shop, and said he was going to Stooges, which is a sort of a bar. And this thing happened right behind Stooges. So there's so many stories about but I can only imagine how many bodies are in that charred area there. And so that's why I say I hope it's not the case, but I believe that it's going to go up. I believe it's going to go up well beyond 20, 30, or 40 people. And it's sad to say that.
You think it's that many?
I think it's that many, but I think the media can't tell us because nobody's reporting anybody missing. So if you say, hey, listen, my mother's missing and my mother works in that area, then she gets on the list, right?
Right. We talked
but
about
if
that.
nobody does that, if it's somebody who just lives alone and just, doesn't communicate with relatives or people days at a time, nobody knows.
They don't know he's missing. But you would think that if even if I lived alone, and which I do, by the way, even if you live alone,
you have to tell everybody that.
Well, I'm just saying that people know.
Stephanie, you hear that? Paul lives alone.
People may not know your specific.
And his address is okay.
People may not know your specific schedule, but people would know if you worked at the airport, for instance. Like one of my son's friends came over to our house that night, and he already knew what the issue was. That not to say that he knows the full extent of the investigation, but he said, he told us that the engine fell off the plane and that, the attendants who were servicing that engine are probably going to get in some deep trouble. But that was the extent of it. I mean, he was a 20-year-old kid who works at the airport, putting the luggage on the planes. And that was his take on it. But everybody obviously has a take on it. But, it's just, I don't know what to say. I didn't see these pictures until about 6 o'clock. So for at least 45 minutes to an hour, I didn't really know about the extent of the crash. When I got the alert, I thought, well, what is a bomb threat at the airport? And I just left it alone. What about those alerts, though? We got one earlier today. They don't give you enough information, do they?
They don't give you enough information, and I think the alerts went out because, of course, I live in Old Louisville, so that's about 5 miles away. So there was a 5 mile, then there was a 10-mile radius. Stay a shelter in place or something like that. Stay in your home, don't come out. And there was some concern because this was really a gas explosion. 38,000.
No, not 30.
200.
No, it's like I don't know the answer, but
200.
I thought
it was a lot of. I thought
gallons,
I heard 280,000
gallons
of gas. And when you look at these pictures here, I mean, the question is how. I don't know. I just know that I believe this. I don't mean to get so faithful and spiritual with you all, but I believe that everybody has a day and time.
Oh, come on.
And no, don't say come on, Paul.
You know how.
I know how you feel about that, and it's a shame that I sit so close to you on this.
I know, man. I don't think you don't. So you don't believe in any accidents at all?
I
Everything's a plan.
Not a whole lot. I mean, I believe that everything. I mean, what happens, it was designed to happen that way. I'm not saying that people were being punished or anything like that, but your time is your time. I mean, those people couldn't have picked that. I don't know if the FAA, I don't know if the federal government had something to do with it in terms of laying people off. I mean, people are not going to work for free. So if you have second-class maintenance men, or if you're getting rid of the DEI people who are really the experts, the so-called DEI people who are really the experts, and you have some fools working on these planes, like, how does this thing fall off the plane? Like, how does this side, one side, just falls off?
Well, we're going to know in about 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
that's about how long the investigation takes.
But that's the question, man. How does it just fall off? And so when I asked earlier about the politics of it, Paul, I mean, you have to consider what else can we factor into this?
So if you want to bring politics in it, this plane crashes at a time when there's government shutdowns. People are getting laid off. You know, you're streaming back on government workers. And for the most part, I would think a lot of airport workers are going to be government workers, right? Whether it's state or federal, I don't know, but you know who does the maintenance. But of course, your air traffic control people are federal.
Yeah, the air traffic control people are federal, but
I mean, stuff is.
But the
depressed.
people that work on Delta and American Airlines
It's gonna be private.
and Southwest, yeah, those are private employers. But it'll be interesting to see.
But again, you're talking about how's the government involved. I don't know this to be a fact, so I'm afraid that I probably shouldn't say it. But you know, things are getting deregulated, and what the word deregulation means, people hear that word, and it's a boogeyman in the room. But people hear about the word deregulation, but regulations replace the word regulation with basically rules. So you have rules in place. Regulations are rules, and if you take away rules, then the more you take away the rules, the more you become the Wild Wild West. Now, I'm not saying that's what the airline regulations are right now, but when you take away rules, you can actually be hurting safety regards. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't understand how an engine falls off. I mean, that seems ridiculous that there's some kind of maintenance check that says, is this engine on? Is it bolted correctly? Or was there too much fuel? Was there, they say the plane tilted to one side, and you'll see in some of those pictures, because when the engine fell off, the plane was unbalanced. So if the engine had just malfunctioned, the plane could have still made some kind of movement, but once it fell off, the plane became imbalanced.
Yeah,
again, this is a 2-year investigation. So
I mean, it doesn't take.
This is just what people are saying now. The NTSB is not releasing any information, so everybody's speculating.
Probably got nobody working to release.
And I did watch their press conference. It's like, who does that, right? Nerds like me. But I watched the press conference, and they basically said that nobody's going to be allowed to release official information unless it goes through NTSB. So.
Well, I mean, I think that all of us here in Louisville ought to keep in mind that the pain of the people, for instance, the UPS workers. I've got a sister-in-law who works at UPS. So I didn't know really what to do because my son's mother works out at Ford, which is not too far from that area. There's a Ford plant out there as well. And all kinds of things just went through my head. Like, okay, so I asked my son, did you check on your mom? He said, yeah, I just talked to my mom. But it's just little things like that when you go through. And I don't know how we as a city could keep the pain from being forgotten a week from now or a month from now, because when these things happen, when there's a plane crash, they just don't end when the news reports end. Right. I mean, they continue on for.
We haven't even talked about the property cost. I mean, portion, the airport.
Or even lawsuits that might be coming.
Well, right? the airport wasn't damaged enough that it had to completely shut down. But could you imagine if that plane had blown through, critical spots on the airport? Louisville would be without an airport for what? 10 years, maybe 5 years. How long does it take to rebuild an airport?
Well, I don't think the airport was damaged.
No, I said if the airport had critical spots damaged, like the towers or the radar.
But I think the most difficult thing, Paul, is that if you had to talk to one of the families who's impacted by this, I mean, what would you tell them? I mean, that's what I wonder sometimes. I mean, what would I tell them?
I have never been one to approach a family and give them bad news like it, but what do you tell them? I mean, I tell you, if the pilots live in Louisville, I'd imagine that.
I think one was from Kansas.
Okay, but
I think it's one of the reports I heard anyway.
No, look, we're saying a lot, but y'all need to understand. If you don't, I used to have somebody work for me who was terrified of flying, would never get on a plane, and this ain't helping that person much.
No, well, you know what? I mean,
the truth of the matter
I'm terrified now. I won't. I'm driving to Cleveland. I'm not going to.
Right, but the truth of the matter is that UPS has only had 3 plane crashes ever: 2010, 2013, and this one. So for the most part.
Plane crashes are rare.
There were 25 commercial planes.
I don't mean to bring politics in it, but
if you're talking about commercial flights like these types of airlines, 25 to 30 a year, which it is a lot, but most of them happen, at takeoff and landing, and that's what this was. If there's going to be a crash, it's of this type, takeoff and landing.
Right, and a lot of us, and a lot of people don't know that. I'm glad you made that point, because most people get in the air and they're fearful that another plane's going to run into them, or or a rocket or a monster or something. But the reality is most plane crashes and most casualties are either at takeoff or landing.
Of these big planes. Now, I
Of-
can't
of
tell
the
you any
big
stats
planes.
on,
Right.
private planes and all that stuff. But of these type of big commercial jetliners.
What
it's
I
just-
drive, Stephanie, you asked me what I drive. I drive.
So come
I
to the
drive a
office and find out.
No, I drive a vehicle.
Oh, that's nice.
But anyway, listen, Paul. So let me just end. Let me just end with this, and I'll just say this to the whole city that's listening. Those of you who are here in Louisville, we have to stand together. We have to lift up these families with prayers and condolences and support. We have to reach out. We have to send love and let them know that this city is standing with them because. Unfortunately, that's what you have to do these times or these days. So let me go to the comments, Paul, and then after I come back from the comments, we are going to talk about the blue wave, man. We are 4 minutes late in because I was going to take a drive, honey. Oh yeah. Where you gonna take a drive? Where, Stephanie?
She's going to drive stick.
She's gonna drive what? Put these comments up there.
All right.
We're gonna drive. You're gonna drive what?
Nothing, dude. Nothing. I'm tossing out jokes and you way too slow.
Oh my God! Look at the pictures. It's truly sad.
Yeah. It's nothing. I mean, we were gonna put some videos up, but I think everybody's seen as many videos as they need to see. If you wanted to see them, you've already seen them. So Madeline says, Jesus. Is that in the comment we were talking about earlier, maybe?
What comment are you talking about?
Well, we were talking about. We had a conversation about thoughts and prayers and whether it's your time. And I don't want to get into a big religious debate.
What do you drive, Carl?
Well, you had stated, and I don't want to get into a religious debate with you, Carl, because we'll go on for hours. But you had stated that when it's your time,
that's what lawyers do.
You stated when it's your time, it's your time. I'm a firm believer that accidents happen, and accidents happen.
Because you don't believe in God.
Well, I look, man. Look, accidents happen. I don't think that somebody's pulling the lever, because if you want to say every death is predetermined by God or Jesus, then you have to accept that He is wanting people to get raped, murdered, and killed.
Gonna drive Paul's stick. Okay, girl, if you say so. So Paul,
She's gonna need a license.
You said what?
She's gonna need a license.
She is gonna need a license. If y'all give us 30 seconds, we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about the blue wave.
Yeah, we gotta take it to politics.
Can we talk about the blue wave? We gotta take it to politics.
I'm gonna. You can talk about it, but I'm not hyped up about it.
Yeah, okay. I'm Carl Price. This is Conscious Fever. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I have wept and I have fallen. Don't you worry about me. 'Cause I stood up, yes, I have grown. The pain has set me free. And like a broken record in my head.
He's from Lexington. Anyway, welcome back to Conscious Fever here on ICE Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. So, let me dive right into this. On Tuesday of this week, November the 4th, 2025, politics in America took a turn.
Yawn.
Right?
John.
The country went to the polls not in one isolated city, not in one random county, but almost everywhere, and in a few major bellwether jurisdictions, New Jersey, Virginia, New York, the voters spoke. And they didn't speak in a whisper. They didn't speak in nuance. They didn't speak in vague hints. They spoke loud. They spoke clear. They spoke blue. This was not simply a midterm turnout. This was not strategists like what strategists like to call a base consolidation. This was a public referendum on direction, a referendum on tone, a referendum on leadership, a referendum on rhetoric. And although some Republicans would downplay it, although some conservative commentators would spin it, what happened this election week was a reversal of political momentum. This was a blue wave. Now, let's take a moment and look at what this actually means in real terms, in real jurisdictions. In New Jersey, Democratic candidates overperformed. Expectations in suburban districts where only a few cycles ago Republicans dominated. In Virginia, Democrats not only held, they expanded in areas that were previously considered lean Republican or even solid Republican, less than 5 years ago. In New York, urban turnout combined with suburban energy delivered lopsided margins that sent the message, we are not moving backward. This wave didn't happen in a vacuum. This wave delivered a statement. The American electorate issued a verdict. The chaos, the division, the grievance politics. Americans are tired of it. Democrats, and frankly many independents, came out to say to President Donald Trump the following: enough. Enough with the division, enough with the threats, enough with the government by intimidation, by spectacle, by insult, and by outrage. The voters didn't say it politely either. They said it numerically. They said it in ballot tallies. They said it in precinct data, and political professionals know the most honest politician in America on election day is the ballot count. Now let's talk California, Proposition 50, because there is something extraordinary that unfolded in California on the same night. In California, there wasn't even a human being running on that ballot contest. No candidate, no Democrat, no Republican, no independent. This was a ballot where the people were voting on pure policy. Proposition 50, a structural accountability reform measure. And that proposition passed overwhelmingly. Think about how powerful that is. In California, the voters said, even if every politician gets out of the way, we still want rules. We still want accountability. We still want guardrails. We still want government to function professionally, not recklessly. So when we combine California's Prop 50 with the electoral outcomes in New Jersey and Virginia and in New York, we see something bigger than party. We see a national mood shift. I'm telling y'all. We see a national self-correction. What are you laughing at? We see a national appetite for stability, reason, precedent, and order. I mean, it's exactly what we saw. Do you believe this was one election night or, Paul, a political trajectory?
A public enemy used abuse without clues. I refuse to blow a fuse. They even had it on the news. Don't believe the hype.
Oh my God. I can't believe this guy is playing this. You think it was hype?
New York, California, Virginia, Democratic strongholds. Of course they're going to win. That's nothing. Don't believe. I'm not saying they're going to lose. I'm not saying they're going to, that this means nothing. I'm saying New York, California, and Virginia. It's not a big deal. They were going to win. They were going to win.
No, Paul.
So you can't call it.
You don't believe that there was a message there at all?
Yeah, that the Democrats won the state they're supposed to win. Yeah, that was the message. I think that's the problem with, and I know we're talking politics, but I think that's the problem with
time and chance. Hold on, Paul. Time and chance happens to us all. Things happen. Crash will happen. Ecclesiastes 9:11. I saw something else under the sun, for time and chance happen to all. Interesting.
So that's not saying that God is in control of it.
No, well, I guess it's not what Frank. Listen, That's my belief. Y'all can take it however y'all want. I believe everything happens for a reason. I believe I meet everybody for a reason. I believe everybody I encounter, there's a reason for that. And I just happen to be one of those people who believe that God is in control. So anyway, Paul, you were saying.
I think I've said it. I think Public Enemy said it best.
Don't believe the hype. So you don't believe, let me just ask, make sure I'm getting this right. You believe that this was just another blue state race?
It is a known fact that elections in off years don't determine midterms. And if the Democrats,
No, Paul.
if the Democrats,
Don't spin it wrong.
If the Democrats,
Don't spin it
let
wrong.
me finish my statement.
I'm not going to let you spin it wrong.
Let me finish my statement. If the Democrats get all chest thumping, or what Charlie Strong used to say, fake juice, then they're not going to be energized to come out and vote in the midterm. The midterms are what count. These off elections don't count. And so, yes, they won California. Yes, you gained 5 votes. But the Republicans have gerrymandered in Texas, Ohio.
What's your point, man?
There's 4 states, Texas, Ohio. Those are the big ones. 2 other smaller states. But they've gerrymandered to where they're going to gain 9 votes. And the Democrats have gerrymandered to where they're going to gain 5. It's a numbers game at the end. So let me finish. So right now you're thumping your chest over what happened in this quote unquote. I'm just saying what happened in this blue wave. But if you don't beat the gerrymandering that's going on in the red states, it ain't gonna matter. The blue wave ain't gonna come in the midterms if you don't have the necessary districts and votes to pull it off. No. So don't believe the hype. This was a small battle in a huge war that ends up next November. So don't believe the hype.
First of all, I don't like the way you spin that.
Well, I didn't spin
because
I'm just telling
no, yes you did. Because what you're really talking about, Paul, you're really comparing the normal behavior during midterm elections.
Right.
Okay, when you have a Republican president and you have a midterm wave of the opposite party, just like with Obama, just like with the Bushes, just like with Trump the last time when they were impeaching him all of the time. So I don't want to mix it. But
you don't celebrate a victory.
No.
Until you've won.
No, I understand, Paul. But they did win. They did win.
You won a small battle.
And I think that
the war's going to be fought next November.
Okay, let me ask the question.
And if you don't get to next November, if the
you don't
rules
think this is a sign?
You don't understand.
Is this an ideological shift or a character shift? No. And I guess what I mean is, did people vote Democrat because of policy, or did they vote Democrat because they are exhausted with the behavior of Trump-era Republicanism?
What I'm trying to tell you is you can't tell because the population of the state of California is probably 50 million. I don't know. Somebody give me the stat. Do you think 50 million or 25 million people came out to vote? Probably not. So the problem is you've got a small group who controlled an election in an off year, but that's not the midterms and that's not the presidency.
Okay.
It's a small election. Even though they won.
You have to quit talking when you're not fully aware.
Fully aware of what? What is it that?
Because what happens is, hold on a second. Let me then we can get to the fully.
I just said don't believe the hype.
Right.
You can't. This is it's an off-year election.
I think you think it's a hype because. Why do you think it's a hype? Because it's just an off-year election?
Because I'm watching the news and everybody's chest thumping and saying the Democrats won. So let's look at what they won. Guess what? There's a Democratic mayor in New York. Yes, he's Muslim, but he's a Democratic mayor.
Yeah, but
hold on. Is being a Democratic mayor in New York surprising? Well, hell no. Is being a Democratic governor surprising? No. It's a female governor. Great. I love it.
Well,
but none of that is surprising in and of itself.
He's a Muslim in New York.
He's still a Democrat.
Right. He's anti-Israel in New York City, where there's a large Jewish population and a large Jewish control, and sometimes in control of those politics. I do want to go to this comment though that I just saw. So Paul. So I mean, you can. It's not as simple. In my mind, it's not as simple as just saying it was a Democratic election. The big revelation is that in Virginia, Trump did not back a black Republican candidate. That's something to talk about, Frank. That two women won The two women, one that are very capable leaders, and most important, Trump backed a Democrat. Wow, I totally agree. Let's talk about that. Thank you, Frank.
Trump backed a Democrat.
Paul, yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about.
No. I'm saying, what is this meaning? Like the Republicans weren't going to come out and vote for a Democrat.
No, Paul.
The Republicans were not. The Republicans in Virginia were not going to come out and support a Democrat.
Paul. Let's get this right.
No. I'm just saying. Isn't that a fact?
No, Paul. See, this is what I'm talking about. You don't know all the facts.
No.
So let me just say that you're gonna go to your phone and find.
I have to because I got to fact check you in real time, bro.
Okay.
Real time.
Paul, let me educate you on what it is you're missing. So there were 3 candidates. There was a Republican candidate in New York.
And a black female.
No, in New York. We're talking about He's talking about New York.
Okay.
There was a Muslim candidate.
Virginia.
Huh?
She said Virginia.
No.
She says Virginia. The big revelation is that in Virginia.
Paul, but you got to read it all. You got to read it all. See, that tells me. I'm gonna put the comment back up there.
Put the comment back up
because I want you to really.
I mean, I'm reading.
Okay.
My eyes ain't that good.
Why don't you read it out loud?
I'm not reading it.
Okay. The big revelation is that in Virginia, Trump did not back a black Republican candidate.
Correct.
So let's stop right there. And let me just tell you this: that what he's talking about is that there is a black female running for governor against a white female. Black female is a Republican. White female is a Democrat. In every year where there's government politics and you have a party in the White House, they always put their weight behind that candidate. You tell me why Trump did not even endorse this woman. Let's just call her the Republican candidate. Let's just get her away from the race. Why he did not endorse the Republican candidate that was running in the gubernatorial race in Virginia? Or is it just a coincidence that he didn't support her or endorse her because she's black? That's what he's talking about.
That wasn't a coincidence.
Tell me, we'll talk about it.
Why wasn't
it?
Well, you know why he didn't endorse her? Because she was black.
Because she was black. Okay, right. So that's your answer. You're sticking to it, and you're probably correct because she asked for his endorsement, and every time the media asked her, "Well, why isn't Donald Trump supporting you?" She just spun the question and gave some crazy answer. But
you gotta understand, Cameron didn't win here, right? And Trump supported him. MAGA will support Trump. You forget who MAGA is. MAGA's not going to support the black candidate.
Every MAGA's not
MAGA don't support.
Every MAGA member is not racist.
MAGA don't support. MAGA doesn't support the Indian candidates in their party. Look what they did to Vivek Vivekswamy this weekend.
Yeah. But listen. The other part of what he was saying, and that 2 women, one that are very capable leaders, and most important, Trump backed the Democrat. Now, let me tell you what he's talking about there. What he's talking about is that there was a Muslim running for mayor in New York who won. There was an anti-Israel person, by the way, that Muslim was. At least that's alleged. And then there is Andrew Cuomo, who was running as an independent. And then there was a Republican, some guy with a weird last name.
And he backed
Cuomo,
right?
Which is a Democrat. But he used to be his rival.
You're saying Democrat, but he
said Democrat, but look, I mean, he's running as an independent, but he was a Democrat. He was the governor of New York, the Democratic governor of New York when Trump was in office the first time, and they bumped heads a lot. That is kind of odd that he would do that.
He backed him because they're both corrupt. And they stick together.
I don't
okay, that was hyperbole, but still.
Corrupt.
No.
I just what I believe.
You don't think Cuomo's corrupt and he was?
I think Cuomo has some allegations against him. Maybe he did what they said he did. I don't know. I don't think he ever got charged. Right? He never got charged. So we're lawyers. We're not going to speculate and try the case in the media.
Hyperbole.
But I guess why do you keep using that word?
I just like it.
You like that word. But anyway, so. I do. Let me just say this before we run out of time. I believe that it is a referendum on Donald Trump, and I believe that if this blue wave is for real, Paul, I think we're going to go back through that whole impeachment process again that we saw in his first term. What I believe is that what the Republicans need to do is hold on to the Senate, because if there are numbers of Democratic senators and they control the House, because the House is always fragile, right? It swings either way. Especially the midterms tell a whole different story. So what I'm saying to you is that if the Democrats control the House and the Senate, it would be a different day than what it was during the first term of Trump during the impeachment process. And you know what I'm talking about, right? Because the Senate is what blocked everything, is what really blocked the impeachment. Yeah, Mitch McConnell. But
all right.
So anyway, so I just say that I do believe when somebody asks the questions, for instance, here's another little comment. Suburbs, it says, this is an analysis of the election, that the suburbs, once the backbone of the GOP strength, are now making the margin for the Democrats. Why do you think that suburban voters have become the shock troops of this new realignment?
This is what I'm talking about. Don't believe the hype. You are talking about an election that, for the most part, doesn't mount to anything. You get 5 extra votes in California, but the bigger battle is in these other states. You flip somebody in Texas, I'm on board. But saying that Democrats won in California is like saying water's wet. Yeah, I know. I get it. Water is wet. Every time I jump in the pool, I'm going to get wet. Yeah, that's not new news that Democrats won in Virginia and New York and California. Democrats, if you look at the history of the mayors in New York, it's the majority Democrats. Yeah, you had the billionaire who was a Republican, but that's an anomaly, just like in Kentucky. We've had Republican governors, but that's recently, but that's an anomaly. We've had mostly Democratic governors.
Paul, would you have wagered that a Muslim would have won the New York mayor's race?
It depends on when you ask, but everybody knew he was going to win. No. It wasn't like the polling was saying he was going to lose. Everybody knew he was going to win.
It's all fair. That was after that first part. But I'm just saying before, when he threw his name in, would you have wagered that he would come out the victor?
I didn't know him, but some people obviously supported him.
That's not the question,
and the polls well, you're asking me, would I have known somebody won in a state that I don't know?
The black mayor's name is now up there, would you
have wagered that Cameron was going to lose?
David Cameron? Would have. Yeah. I just, I did. I just believed at that time when Cameron won, first of all, you make a point about MAGA, so he's not going to get 100% white nationalist MAGA, just that part. I'm not going to say every MAGA is a white nationalist, but he's not going to get that part, so that's taking some percentages away from him. And Andy Beshear is a Western Kentucky boy, and his father was a Western Kentucky boy. So, if you're Democrat and you're going to get the blue areas, you're going to get Warren County, you're going to get Paducah, you're going to get Fayette County, you're going to get Jefferson County. All you need is just sparse parts of Western Kentucky, and you're going to win. So I had no doubt in my mind.
Okay, so along that lines, then, does that now mean that because Andy Beshear won, that suddenly Kentucky's flipped blue? No, that's my point.
No. But we're not talking. But hold on. There you go off the rails.
No, I'm not off the rails. No. I'm comparing it to somebody Democrat or Democrat.
I agree with you that if it was somebody other than Andy Beshear, that there may have been a challenge there. I don't know if it would have been a different outcome, but there may have been a challenge. Because you have to understand that in Kentucky, nobody outside of Louisville and Lexington and Paducah want anybody from Louisville to win, right? So what they do is that if you have a candidate, like we've had Patton, and we've had all those people that were from Eastern Kentucky and Western Kentucky, and they were able to win because the blue vote in Louisville, Lexington, and Paducah was always guaranteed. So if you had some, it's not like if I ran, I don't know anybody. I mean, I know some people there, but I don't have a benchmark in Paducah, in Eastern Kentucky or Western Kentucky or the Tennessee border or even in Northern Kentucky. And so the Democratic mayors who have won lately, they have always had some type of connection to those particular areas, and when they do very well. So I don't know. I'm just saying that I know you believe that this was just nothing. And this doesn't tell us anything. I think it tells a lot. And I'm going to say this one thing, and I'll let you talk.
I'm not saying nothing.
The reason I think it says a lot, Paul, is because of this. If you heard me, what I said earlier, no human being was on the ballot in California. I don't know how you interpret that so many people will come out So many people will come out. I mean, it's hard to get people to come out when human beings are on the docket for midterms or for primaries. And you get that many people come out when no human being is on the docket. I think it says something. I think it says a little bit more than what you wanted to be, what you want everybody to believe. I don't believe it's just a coincidence that all of a sudden because Virginia's really not a blue state. Virginia had a legislative that was controlled by Republicans for the last few years. The Democrats just started to get that back. Okay, so don't assume that Virginia has always been blue, and you know that. Even in the presidential campaign, Virginia was not that easy to get. So anyway, Frank, we'll give you one of our last comments because he's not going to talk anymore. He just believes voters are having a conscious fever over their politics. I like the way you put that. It's not that the winner in New York won. It's not that he is a Democratic socialist agenda, and many do not know what this is, but it feels good. I agree.
So my take on it is the same, which is California, Gavin Newsom's response to Texas's cheating. We're going to cheat too, but we're going to do it on a level to let our voters decide. I think that was a good decision. But it's still, you're asking people to come out and vote in California, a primarily heavily Democratic stronghold. If people were going to turn out, and it's not like you're saying I need a presidential vote, but in general, if you're going to have a turnout, unless it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger running for governor, if you're going to have a turnout in California, they're going to vote blue. So it's not like everybody who was a Democrat, all registered Democratic voters showed up. But if you just take a portion of the population and say, come and vote on this issue, and they come out and they vote, it's the statistics are going to show that it's going to be blue. Same in New York. They almost always vote for a candidate who is Democratic.
But you have never explained
why Virginia. You said you was going to let me do this. Well, Virginia's had mostly Democratic governors.
Okay,
the Republican governor is
just like Kentucky. But we have a supermajority Republican legislature.
Right, because of gerrymandering. That's why. That is exactly why. You take a city like Louisville with the majority population in the whole state, and you give them one vote, and then the rest of the state divides up. They've done here. I know, I'm being hyperbolic, but you take the majority of this city, who represents the majority of people in the state, and you give them one representative. And then the other counties that represent the other 50% of the state get 7 votes. That's not fair. Gerrymandering has to go. That's the problem. The problem isn't blue wave, red wave. The problem is the gerrymandering, which means you can fashion the number of representatives to such a point that you can completely give, say, for instance, black people no voice. No vote, no voice, no voice in Congress.
Let me ask you this.
And that's the real battle. Whether or not California gains 5 extra seats is not the battle. The blue wave will be if, despite them gerrymandering, despite them fixing the election, rigging the election, people in red districts still lose. That's the blue wave. When people in Nebraska lose to a Democratic candidate, that's your telltale sign. But not somebody in New York.
I'm about to shut him up now. I'm going to ask you this question.
All right.
What is your take on what happened in Mississippi?
Which
that
part?
Some red districts were actually turned blue. So, I mean, what is your take on that? Mississippi, supermajority Republicans. Okay. But the Democrats picked up some seats in the Senate as well.
But you're talking about state politics, right?
Paul,
I mean, that's what it is.
I'm talking about state politics, okay. Paul. But you cannot keep making a disproportionate analogy. New York, Virginia, and California, those are states also. So we're talking state politics with those.
But when you were talking about congressional districts, you were talking about state congressional districts.
I understand that.
And I'm not going to discount that. I'm just saying.
I understand that. I'm just saying that when we talk, when you heard Frank Clay mention this, I believe that there's a movement going on. Okay, that's what I believe. You don't have to believe that. So when I look at places,
I think there's a movement going on, but I think the problem with Democrats is they sell it. It's like George Bush jumping on the aircraft carrier 2 days after we bombed Iraq and saying, game over, we won. Like, no, we didn't win. We haven't won. Well, quit doing that. That's the problem.
Here's what we're going to do, Paul. We're just going to end this in this way. Here's how we're going to end this, right? I want everybody to make a footnote of this show and what Paul said. And then we'll revisit this.
Make sure you mark down what I said, because you're trying to say that.
No, Paul. It's all recorded. It's all recorded. And you know they archive it right in the computer here. So what I'm saying to you, tonight, and I'm saying to everybody that's listening out there tonight, don't let me be the only one to say, Paul, I told you so.
What is it that you told me?
Well, because I believe that there's a movement. I believe that this is indicative. What
I never said there wasn't.
Paul, okay, well, what were you saying?
What I'm saying is Democrats. You won 3 districts with Democratic votes in districts that were already Democratic.
So you're saying the same thing.
No. But let me finish. Don't think that this is victory. This is something that was expected. That's like saying water is wet. To win and have victories, if it's what he's saying about Mississippi, you're flipping Mississippi blue, those are true victories. But rest assured that if you let this ideology of Trump persist, by the time we get to the midterms, he will have gerrymandered all the other states. So winning in California means nothing if he wins in 4 other red states and they
Paul,
gerrymander away your votes.
And maybe
so don't believe the hype.
And maybe
it's not over.
And maybe just like in Texas and California, the other side just can't do anything about it. So I don't know about that analogy. What I'm saying to you is that I believe that that there's a suggestion here that the country doesn't like the first year of Trump.
Well, that's obvious. That's what the polls say.
No. But that's what we're not talking about the polls now. We're beyond the polls now. We've got the election results. So what I'm saying is, if you believe that this is just another blue state electing a Democrat, I think where the disconnect between you and I is that you just believe that it's just another blue state. New Jersey's another blue state. Virginia's another blue state.
Yes.
New York is another blue state,
yes.
And it just happened to
elect
a blue candidate.
You have to flip a state.
Paul, can I just finish?
I know what you're saying.
What you're saying is that it's just another blue state that just happened to elect another blue candidate.
Right,
and I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. You said it doesn't mean anything. It's not indicative of what may happen next November.
What happens in California means nothing to what happens in Texas.
Paul, you might be right. All I'm saying is that I'm saying the exact opposite. I'm saying, like all the pundits says, which I seldom agree with them, but this time, this week I do. I believe that there is a clear message from Tuesday. And I think that Donald Trump is going to take note. And by the way, he has taken note, because now, you know what he's doing? He's now forgiving all the student loan borrowers, right?
After that was one.
At least that's what he said. And now he was given a little bit on the SNAP benefits, but now the court has weighed in and said, oh, no, you have to fund them for November, at least for now. So it must be something pending. So I'm just saying, he sees the writing on the wall. And I don't think he wants to repeat what happened last year when it flipped. Because, Donald Trump was not really into politics a year ago. Now he understands that this is where I can get control. I'm not saying he's astute in politics or in any kind of way an astute politician. But what he understands is that, unlike before, he's not going to put an attorney general there who's not going to do what he says. He's changed that. He's not going to put an FBI director there who's not going to do what he says. So, he's got a way to craft his way out of this. But I think he sees the wave. And if he's not careful, you may say he's got something under his sleeve. If he's not careful, this is going to come tumbling down. And if a year from now, which I believe is going to happen, I don't believe that anything in this country is going to get better. Every day is getting worse. We don't have to blame because of the sympathy of the victims and those affected by this airplane crash here in Louisville. But I know that deep down inside, people are saying, I wonder if the government shutdown has something to do with that. The government has been shut down the longest, only 2 times. The 2 longest times have been under this man when he has been president. So all I'm saying, Paul, is that I think people are really fed up.
I agree with
the
that.
price of eggs did not go down.
I agree with that, but you're
saying that the price of gas is going down to $2 a gallon. It's not going to happen.
Hold on. In all fairness and honesty, I texted you what gas was when Biden left office. It is cheaper than when Biden left office. I'm not going to say that gas is not going down, because it is. But back to this blue wave, you can't go to a stadium of 40,000, 50,000 people and have 1 or 2,000 people stand up and say it's a wave. That's my analogy.
Oh, well,
it's not a wave.
You got somebody who's agreeing with you.
Says there is a response, and the voters are having a conscious fever. They're upset with government as a whole, and they will want change regardless of the color of the state. Wave? No, it's a wage. Yeah, it's a wage.
Right. He's saying it's the economy, because there were some reports that people voted based upon the economy. So all I'm saying is that, you know,
if the economy kicks back in by next November, this blue wave is gone.
I don't know. I mean, y'all remember he said that, because I don't believe that's going to be the
economy.
Case. I don't think Donald Trump can stop doing things that just don't make sense to anybody but
I don't think the economy is going to
get
better.
And because of that, I think that's what's going to happen. You know, I've said this before, and this is the last thing I'll say before we get out of here. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't believe. I mean, it's easy for you to do just like the MAGA people do.
I'm not doing like the MAGA people.
Well, this is what you said. You said, well, you know, and it was going. We know we took a note of what the gas prices were when Biden was in office, and now we took a note of what it is when Trump.
I'm just
is
being
in
fair.
Office. Yeah, but Paul, that's ignorant.
I mean, no, it's not. It
is ignorant.
It's not ignorant to recognize
Paul,
that gas prices have come down.
No. But
why do I have to be such a homer?
What's the effect of that?
Nothing.
It's fine that you can recognize it, but why did you say it?
Why do I have to be such
Why did you say it?
Because I don't need to be such a homer.
No.
I don't need to be. You asked me a question. I don't need to be such a homer that I can't acknowledge something that's true. No. I've become just like MAGA.
Paul,
gas prices have come down.
That's fine.
So quit saying they're still going up.
No, that's fine.
That's not a true statement.
That's fine. But what is the effect of what you're saying? Are you implying that it's because Trump is in office?
No, I'm just making a statement that to say that gas prices are still going up, that's just not true.
Anyway, Paul, you get your last word.
The last word is, look, y'all, if you think you have a blue wave, you are believing the hype. There is no blue wave that's happened yet. It happens on a significant election cycle and not an off cycle. You can win all the off cycles, but if you don't win the House and the Congress and the Senate or the presidency, there's no wave. You can have all the states flip colors, but on a national level, there's no wave. And it's interesting that you might have some districts that voted blue in a state that normally where they vote red, but that happens realistically almost every election cycle. It happened in Wisconsin during the 2020 election. It happened in Pennsylvania, and President Trump's victory in last November. I hate even putting the words out there, but you can't believe all of that. The only cycles that matter are the important midterms and presidential on the national level. Other than that, California doing something where the Democrats normally win, or Pennsylvania or New York or any of those states, those aren't huge victories. A victory in Texas where somebody wins blue where they shouldn't, that would be huge. If Donald Trump flipped all and did all this gerrymandering and they still lost, that would be huge. That's what has to happen.
Okay. All right. People, we are at the end of this thing. All I ask is this, is that y'all save this show, go back and take a look at it next time. Listen, I'll again, congratulations to the 24th International Grand Polaris of Iota Phi Theta. That's what we're doing. We are out of here. Thank you for joining us here tonight. 24th International Grand Polaris.
That's 24th?
That's number 24.
That's not very many.
Well, what do you think Kappa is today? No, seriously.
I don't know, like 100?
No, it's not 100. It's not. That means y'all had a poll mark every year, and that's not that's not true. But anyway, good night, everybody. I will see you all next week. Wish me safe travels in Cleveland. Have a good night.
Thank you for watching the Conscious Fever podcast. We will see you next week.
When you need the best sound, when you want the best songs, tune in. We're here for you. The best radio in town all day long.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming. but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change. Oh, yes, it is. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother, help me please. But he wind up knocking back down on the knees. There've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able, Father, to carry on. And it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it is, yes it is, yes it is. Said I know that a change is gonna come one day. I know a change